Hello everyone, welcome to Ferdinand tutorials. In this video, we're going to be answering multiple choice question on protein folding and structures. To the first one, which bond gives the peptide bond its planar structure? A. Hydrogen bond, B. Partial double bond character, C. Ionic bond, D. Disulfide bond. The correct option is B. Partial double bond character. The peptide bond exhibits resonance. What it means is that it gives it partial double bond character. Now, this restricts rotation and makes the peptide bond planar. Are we there? Question 2. The Ramachandran plot is primarily used to describe A. Protein molecular weight, B. Allowed backbone dihedral angles, C. Amino acid composition, D. Enzyme kinetics. The correct option here is B. Allowed backbone dihedral angles. Now, the Ramachandran plot predicts strictly allowed conformations of protein backbones based on the phi and the psi angles. This is the phi, this is the psi angles. Question 3. Which interaction contributes most significantly to the folding of globular proteins in aqueous environment? A. Ionic interactions, B. Hydrogen bonds, C. Hydrophobic interactions, D. Covalent bonds. The correct option is C. Hydrophobic interactions. Now let me explain. Hydrophobic amino acid side chains tends to cluster in the protein interior. What they do is that they minimize contact with water and drive protein folding. Are we together now? Good. So that's why option C is our correct option. Hydrophobic interactions. Question 4. Which amino acid is most likely to disrupt an alpha helix? Is it alanine? Is it leucine? Is it proline or methionine? The correct option is C. Proline. Now, proline introduces a rigid bend in the polypeptide chain and lacks the amide hydrogen required for hydrogen bonding, making it what? A helix breaker. Question 5. Which amino acid is commonly found in B-tones because of its small size and flexibility? A. Glycine, B. Tryptophan, C. Phenylalanine, D. Valine. Of course, this is the simplest one, glycine. Now, glycine has the smallest side chain. That's a simple hydrogen atom, allowing flexibility needed for what? Tight tones, as opposed to every other amino acid here. Question 6. The process by which a denatured protein regains its native conformation is known as A. Translation, B. Renaturation, C. Replication, D. Hydrolysis. As a biochemistry student, maybe a year 1, you should know this. The correct option is what? B. Renaturation. Now, some proteins can spontaneously refold. Are we there now? Now, when they refold into their native structures. Now, if the denaturations are removed, that the denaturation conditions are removed, that is when this can actually what? Happen. 7. According to Effinson experiment, the information required for protein folding is contained within the A. ribosomes, B. amino acid sequence, C. ATP molecule, D. chaperone proteins. The correct option is B. Amino acid sequence. Now, Effinson demonstrated that the primary structure determines the native three-dimensional structure of many proteins, and the primary structure cannot be called the primary structure without the amino acid sequence. In fact, the amino acid sequence is the primary structure. Question 8. Which molecular chaperone assists in folding newly synthesized proteins in the cytoplasm? A. DNA polymerase, B. HSP70, D. RNA polymerase, D. topoisomerase. The correct option is B. HSP70. Now, these binds expose hydrophobic regions of nascent protein, preventing aggregation during what? During folding. Do not forget. The GroEL system is an example of A. kinase, B. chaperonin, C. phosphatase, D. ligase. The correct option is chaperonin. Now, GroEL and GroES, what they do is that they form a chamber that provides a protected environment for proper protein folding. Number 10. Which type of protein is generally more soluble in water? A. Fibrous proteins, B. Globular proteins, C. Membrane proteins, D. Keratin. B. Globular proteins, they have hydrophilic surfaces, means that they have water-loving surfaces, making them readily soluble in aqueous environment. Are we there now? Good. Question 11. Keratin is an example of a globular protein, B. Fibrous protein, C. Membrane protein, D. Enzyme. Keratin is an example of what? A fibrous protein, because keratin cannot dissolve in water. It's not soluble in water. So rather it provides a structural support to hair, nails, and even skins. So that means all structural proteins like keratin, are we there now? They are all what? Fibrous proteins. Meanwhile, transport are globular. Transport like hemoglobin. Number 12. Collagen's triple helix structure is stabilized mainly by A. Peptide bonds, B. Hydrogen bonds, C. Glycosidic bonds, D. Ester bonds. The correct option is B. Hydrogen bonds. Hydrogen bonding between the three polypeptide chains stabilizes the collagen triple helix. Question 13. Which amino acid is abundant in collagen and contributes to its stability? Is it histidine? Is it B. hydroxyproline? Is it C-methionine? Is it the tryptophan? The correct option is B. Hydroxyproline. Now, hydroxyproline forms hydrogen bonds that stabilizes the collagen triple helix. 14. Protein denaturation usually affects all of the following except the secondary structure, the tertiary structure, C. quaternary structure, the primary structure. I've explained this in my previous video before, so I want you to answer this number 14 and let me know in the comment section. I'll be waiting. Do not forget, comment your answer right now. Stop the video and comment the answer now. What do you comment? The correct option here is the primary structure. Let me know if you got it or not. The correct option is primary structure because denaturation disrupts non-covalent interactions but usually does not break the peptide bond, which is what the primary structure are made of. Question 15. Which technique is commonly used to estimate the molecular weight of proteins under denaturing conditions? Is it A. Native page, B. SDS page, C. Thin layer chromatography, D. Gas chromatography? Correct option is sodium deoxide sulfate, polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. SDS is a detergent. It denatures protein and gives them a uniform negative charge, allowing a separation primarily by what? By size. That's a type of what? Electrophoresis. Number 16. Disulfide bonds are formed through oxidation of A. Lysine residues, B. Serine residues, C. Cysteine residues, D. Alanine residues. Correct option is C. Cysteine residues. Now, two cysteine side chains are oxidized to form a covalent disulfide bond, which we call what? A cysteine. 17. Protein domains are best described as individual amino acids, independently folding functional regions of proteins, C. Peptide bonds, D. Ribosomal subunits. Correct option is B. Independently folding functional regions of proteins. Number 18. Leventhal's paradox suggests that proteins A. Fold by randomly sampling every possible conformation, B. Cannot fold spontaneously, C. Fold through specific pathways rather than random searching, D. Always require ATP to fold. The correct option is C. Fold through specific pathways rather than random searching. Now, if proteins sampled every possible conformation randomly, folding would take an impractical long time. Instead, what they do is that they follow efficient folding pathways. Number 19. Which amino acid side chains are most likely to be found on the surface of a soluble protein? A. Hydrophobic residue, B. Non-polar residues, C. Polar and charged residue, D. Aromatic residues only. Correct option is C. Polar and charged residues. Number 20. A mutation that replaces a hydrophobic amino acid in the protein core with a charged amino acid is likely to A. Increase protein stability, B. Have no effect, C. Destabilize protein folding, D. Create a peptide bond. The answer is here is C, destabilize protein folding. Now, the hydrophobic core is essential for protein stability. So when we introduce a charged residue into its core, it can disrupt the packaging and folding, potentially leading to loss of function or protein what? Misfolding. Are we there now? So thank you for watching this video. Please like so that YouTube can recommend this video to other users like you, and then share this video so that they can gain the same knowledge that you just gained from this video. And I will see you again in the next one. Bye for now.